Happy Wednesday, y'all. It is G. Scott with KIRO Nights. You can hear my show Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Let's see, what's in the news today? What should we be talking about? Well, there's a couple things I guess we should talk about, right? One, we should maybe talk about the Robert Kraft and what's going on with that. Maybe we should talk about that. And, of course, the Michael Cohen hearing that happened today. That's kind of been in the news, and what's, everybody's been talking about that. The Bob Kraft, let's start off with that. One of the things that, if you guys haven't heard, if you've been in a cave, you've been locked away, here's the story on that. Bob Kraft, the morning of the AFC Championship game, he got himself involved in a sex trafficking sting in which there was sex trafficking going on with the gals, and he was one of the clients that had showed up. And so he got charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of that. And of course now he's in trouble, and he's probably going to have a fine from the NFL. And if let's just say the fine is $500,000, he's worth $6.6 billion. So $500,000 to him would be the equivalent of like $2.87 to both you and I. We're good? Okay, makes sense. Here's some of the things that trouble me about this. It troubles me, right, that with Bob Kraft and this whole thing, one of the things that keeps being said, which is wrong, is the solicitation of prostitution. It's not that simple. There are women being forced to do things. They're here, some on work visas, they don't speak great English, but they have no choice but to continue this work. So right now in America, we have a problem with sex trafficking. I don't know how clear I can be about that. Let me repeat. In this country, we have a problem with sex trafficking. Things happening against their will. It is so bad these days that, I don't know if you know this, but make sure when you're traveling in an Uber that especially ladies, high school kids, if you're traveling in an Uber and an Uber is coming to pick you up, you make sure that the license plate that's on your Uber is the same as the license plate that's coming to pick you up. A friend of mine let me know that this is something that happens. Now, back to my point of this whole deal. Robert Kraft has done this, and it feels like in the eyes of so many, it's no big deal. Do you guys remember when Donald Sterling, remember he was owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, the NBA? Remember, he had said that he told his girlfriend in the privacy of his own home that he didn't like her being around black athletes, said the N-word, in particular, Magic Johnson. And remember that blow up? What ended up happening to Donald Sterling? He had to sell the team. And because he had to sell the team, that was the NBA making a stance by saying, we're not going to deal with that. So here we are right now with Robert Kraft. Will he have to sell the team? So somebody might say, well, no, he didn't say anything racist. Which brings me to my next question. What's worse? What's worse? Saying something racist or being part and engaged in solicitation of workers in a sex trafficking ring? I won't even answer it. I'll let you answer that question on what's worse. Point being is this. I wrote this article. It's going to be on mynorthwest.com, and it's talking about the different rules for those that are really rich. And it's coming to the point where the really rich can just buy and I'm not hating. I respect anybody who has amassed a lot of money. It is hard work to make a lot of money. The only problem I have is that the punishment for those for a lot of money is the same punishment for those without a lot of money. So for example, I know people still to this day that can't get a job or can't rent an apartment because something petty that they done 10 years ago, right? That's the part that I have a problem with, where somebody that's a billionaire, they could be like, how much to go away? Think about that. How much to go away? And they just move on with their life. Where you and I, something that was, we do something, our life's over. That's the part that I kind of have a problem with. But no matter what, there's nothing really that can happen to Robert Kraft. He's worth $6.6 billion. Nothing. $500,000, million, $2 million fine, it doesn't matter. He's fine regardless. So my point in all of this is that it feels like billionaires don't have any rules. They do whatever they want. Next piece of news is the Michael Cohen hearing. And I was going to go into it, but I won't. I want to keep this simple, and I want to keep it as bipartisan, and I want to keep it to where I really, truly, hopefully, hope one day that we can stop all this, like, back and forth. It's like a gang mentality. It's like the red versus blue, Crips versus Bloods, Dems versus Republicans. You know, and I was watching the hearing, and it's interesting, right? Because, you know, you got one side asking Cohen questions, you have the other side just calling Michael Cohen a liar. Guess what? Michael Cohen is a liar. Michael Cohen is a convicted felon. He's going to be going to jail. That's the sad part about this, though, is that the convicted felon seems more truthful than the people who shouldn't be lying. That's the bad part. And it just seems like the entire time you had one side that just wanted to just call him a liar. But anyway, I don't want to go too far on that. What I do want to say is this. It's a sad part for all of us in this country, red or blue, Democrat or Republican. It's a sad time that we have Michael Cohen in this situation, admitting and talking and documenting all of these things. That just lets you know, because at the end of the day, we all live in this country. And what we saw on display today ain't good for none of us. Take that how you want to. All right, what kind of questions we have?
We have a comment mainly here about the Robert Kraft story. It says here, if the police cared so much about the women, why didn't they shut down the business ASAP? They allowed it to stay open, making the women work against their will while they built a case against Richmond. That was for the sting itself.
Right. I don't know the rules on that. Probably the same reason why they allowed drug cartels to continue operating, right? They allow drug cartels so they can try to get more of the big fish involved. The reason why they can get 2 right here, they can get 4. They're like, nah, we want to let them continue to operate. Let them continue to sell drugs. Why? Because they don't want 4. They want the whole ring. They want 100. So that would be my explanation as to why they left it open.
So this one's kind of talking more about the Cohen testimony from Eric. It says, when you show people what they want to see, they'll believe anything. Cohen bashed Trump, so this means wall-to-wall media coverage and the Jussie Smollett story can finally be swept under the rug.
No, the Jussie Smollett story is not swept under the rug. But I do know this. I know the Jussie Smollett will end up being the new but her emails. You see what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, whataboutism never solves anything. Example, when I would get in trouble by my dad, and I would come home and I'd be in trouble for something that happened at school, and then I would say, but Dad, what about? He would say, what about nothing? Has nothing to do with nothing else. We're talking about pertaining to right now what you have done. So if your default answer to something is what about, that's a problem. I mean, I can talk about Jussie Smollett being the terrible, and what he did was absolutely terrible. What he did was add to the divide of this country. I can talk about Jussie Smollett and talk about something else. But I'm not going to talk about Jussie Smollett as it pertains to Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen testimony is different than the Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett is different than Robert Kraft. You get where I'm going with this? It doesn't all just mix on together.
And last thing here, it kind of shows the difference in opinions with this Cohen story. Charles says here, it's a bunch of narrow-minded Republicans on a witch hunt. They are so blind to the evil that leads them. Whereas Alan here says, wake up, America. The Democratic Party is trying to pull a coup while the president's out of the country.
Oh, okay. Well, here's what's interesting. I don't know what to say to that as far as him being out of the country. I think they would have done this whether he was here or not. And here pretty soon, when he's back in the country, Mueller will have a report. But we'll say something that's interesting, right? Let's just say that Michael Cohen is a liar, which, by the way, I think he is a liar. So we agree. I think he's a big-time liar. No doubt about it. I think he's been a liar the entire time. As a matter of fact, the only time that I think he's been telling the truth is today, because if he lies right now, it will add time to his sentence. He's already convicted. He's already going to do 3 years, so he can't lie again. But here's my question. If he's a liar, why did he get named to be the RNC finance chair in April of 2017? Was he a liar then? Again, Michael Cohen being the face right now of what's going on, all of this is an embarrassment to all of us. See, that's the problem. Like, it seems like it's just this pointing match, and I'm willing to sit here and say, this don't make none of us look good. So, if we can, at some point, we can continue to say, but this, but that, but at some point, we got to acknowledge and say, hey, man, this is really ugly, and we have to clean house, period. We cannot continue with this. Everybody's just going to jail, being convicted. How is that good and healthy for our country? I'm country before party. Remember that. All right. You guys have a great one. Hopefully next Wednesday we have something light to talk about, right? Because it's kind of heavy. All right. Have a great Wednesday. Tonight, 7 o'clock, KIRO Nights, G. Scott.